Everyone, welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're going retro and we're pulling a recipe card right out of Grandma's recipe box. Today we're going to make old-fashioned cooked chocolate pudding, super easy. I would consider this a pantry pull because you're pretty much going to have all of the ingredients you need on hand at any given time. I can't wait to show you how this all comes together. Today we're going to make a retro recipe right from Grandma's recipe box. Old-fashioned cooked chocolate pudding. You can easily convert this to vanilla pudding by leaving out the cocoa powder, and it's just going to be delicious. Everyone should have this recipe in their recipe box because pudding is super easy to make. It's super nostalgic and it just brings back all the good feels. You know, pudding is a happy memory from almost all of our childhoods, I think, and this is no exception. So what you're going to need to start off is some milk. Today I'm going to use half heavy cream and half milk. You can use all milk, you can use skim milk, 2% milk, whole milk. You can use half and half, which is what I am making it with here, but I'm just using 2.5 cups of heavy cream, 2.5 cups of milk, whole milk. I think this is 2% milk. This is what we usually have on hand. We're going to need a cup of sugar, a half a cup of good quality cocoa powder, a half a cup of cornstarch, a half a teaspoon of salt, 4 tablespoons of butter, and a tablespoon of vanilla extract. That is all that goes in here. So to get started, what you want to do, we're going to take this over to the stove in just a minute, but in order to get started really well, you want to mix certain ingredients together in a certain way. So we're going to go ahead and add our sugar, our cocoa powder, and our cornstarch, along with our salt, and give this a good whisk. You want to make sure you mix this together really well. Now I'm going to use a little bit each of the milk and the cream just to get this going, because you want to kind of get this into a place where it's sort of like a paste. You don't want to dump all your milk in at one time. You want to get that sugar dissolved. And also keep in mind too, both sugar and cocoa powder in recipes are considered liquid ingredients. So you really need to introduce the liquid so that the pudding is nice and smooth in the end. So a little bit of your liquid into your dry. What you want to make sure of is that you don't have any dry pockets. So really get your whisk in there. But you can see how thick this is. Just give it a good whisk. And then you can introduce the rest of your liquid. Now keep in mind, you can easily cut this recipe in half if you want to make a smaller amount. I'm making a larger amount today, which is essentially a double regular batch of what's on the recipe card from my grandmother. And that is because we're going to be using this in another really quick recipe later in another video. Okay, now we're going to take this over to the stove and we're going to put this over medium-high heat, and we're going to stir constantly until this comes to a bubbly boil. And then we'll come back and we will add the rest of the vanilla and the butter. So I'll meet you over at the stove. Okay, so we've had this on the heat, and this is going to take between 10 and 15 minutes depending on your burner. I have mine set on a medium-high heat, and you want to constantly stir this, whether it's with a whisk or a spatula. I kind of go back and forth between the two so I can scrape the sides down. But if you want to make sure that it's come to a complete bubble, stop your stirring, and you see how it's bubbling even in the middle and not just around the edges. That's when you know you're ready to proceed. Now you can remove it from the heat. So I'm going to turn the heat off, and that's when we're going to add our butter. So our 4 tablespoons of butter is going to go in there. And
it looks and smells like pudding.
Our tablespoon of vanilla extract. And we're going to go ahead and stir this in. And this looks fantastic.
It smells fantastic too.
Now we're going to go ahead over to the counter, and we're going to pour this into a container so that we can put it in the fridge. All right, now we're going to pour this into a container, and we're going to put some plastic wrap on top of the entire surface so that we don't have a skin. We're gonna go ahead and take some plastic wrap and just nestle it down on the surface of that hot pudding, and then you're gonna refrigerate this for at least a couple of hours. I'm gonna come back, we're gonna dish some up so you guys can see what it looks like and let Rick give it a taste. A couple things I wanted to mention. You can make this with, like I said, any kind of milk. You can use it, you know, cow's milk, rice milk, almond milk, whatever, coconut milk. The other bonus here is because we've used cornstarch as our thickener, there are no eggs in here. So if you have someone in your family who can't have eggs, or you just don't want to use eggs in a pudding, which I kind of understand, then this is a really great and easy kind of pantry pull recipe. It really uses ingredients that you already have on your shelf, and it really makes a quick dessert, you know, if you do a little planning ahead. Another fun fact, when Rick was growing up, his mom used to make chocolate pudding and use it as a topping for vanilla ice cream, which I personally think is a little bit weird, but he loves it.
Delicious.
So there's an idea for you too. So I'm gonna go ahead and refrigerate this. We're gonna come back when it's nice and chilled. We'll give you a look, we'll serve up a dish, and we'll go from there. Our pudding has been chilling in the refrigerator for about 3 hours, and I went ahead, I took the plastic wrap off, and I just gave it a little gentle stir. You want to make sure you do this. You can do it with a whisk or a spoon or however, but it's ready to serve. This pudding is going to be great just to serve as is with some whipped cream, or you can use it as a pie filling, and I think that would be lovely. So what we're going to do is we're going to serve some up, because who doesn't love pudding? And there you go, a delicious bowl of chocolate pudding. If I had some whipped cream, I would top it off with that, but I don't today, so today we're gonna eat it plain, just like that. So are you ready to taste it?
I have to.
Yeah, well, you know, you've been waiting to taste this all day. So here's all chilled. You tell me what you think. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Y'all, this is delicious. And it's just how I remember it. My nanny used to make it, my mom used to make it, and this is not a disappointment. This is delicious. It's creamy. This is just the ticket. So delicious. You're gonna love it. That is how easy it is to make chocolate pudding. It doesn't have any eggs in it. You can use ingredients that you have on your pantry shelf and in your fridge. Super easy, super delicious. All it takes is a little time and a little patience. And I know you're gonna love it. I hope you give this old-fashioned retro style cooked chocolate pudding a try sometime soon. And I hope you love it. And until next time, I'll see ya.